Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today I am continuing my series, so you may remember back in the autumn I filmed a video about all the series that I'd read before I started my booktube channel, or before 2018, all the ones that I'd completed before then, and now I'm continuing that by talking to you today about the series that I completed in 2018 or that I've got up to date on. As some of these series are ongoing, the books are still coming out. I also later will be filming a list of all the series that I've started and have got loads left to read on, so I will be filming that for you later today, so look out for that one coming soon. For today we're just talking about the series that I finished or caught up on in 2018. The first series that I completed in 2018 was the Lizzie Bennet Diaries book series. This is a duology, The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet and The Epic Adventures of Lydia Bennet. They are based on the YouTube series The Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The book series are written by Bernie Sue and Kate Rorick. I think there's another author as well on The Epic Adventures of Lydia Bennet. I can't remember. So this is a really fun little book series. This one is written in diary format with letters and things stuck in, and it's a really great companion to the YouTube series. The second book is a follow-up, so it takes place after the YouTube series has ended and is told from Lydia's perspective. I really like the way the characters are presented in this series. I especially like the way that Lydia is a much more rounded character, whereas in Pride and Prejudice she feels like a little bit of a caricature. In this series and the YouTube series and these books, she is very much a character in her own right, and she is all the adorbs. So if you like Jane Austen and you like retellings of Jane Austen, then definitely check out the YouTube series, The Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and the books that were written alongside them. Okay, the next series that is an ongoing series which I'm up to date on is the 44 Scotland Street series by Alexander McCall Smith. This is an ongoing series, so they are up to book 12 at the moment, which called A Time of Love and Tartan. These books actually first appeared as a serialised series in the newspaper, so there's sort of one snippet a day, one chapter a day essentially, that appear in the newspaper The Scotsman. They're set in Edinburgh and they're just really fun. The characters are really enjoyable and the stories jump about all over the place a little bit because of the way that they're told in serialised form, and there's one book a year. I'm assuming it's still ongoing. I don't know when the next one in the series comes out, but I always keep my eyes peeled for them because they're really enjoyable. They're just a lot of fun and there's some really lovely characters. My favourite, I think everyone's favourite, is Bertie, who's a little boy who has an overbearing mother, and he's just adorable. If you like sort of slice of life style novels and don't mind sort of quite a chopsy at times format, then these are really worth checking out. And if you liked Alexander McCall Smith's other books, I think you probably will like these. The next series, this is kind of I realise this is kind of a little bit of a cheat because there's only one book out in the series so far, but I needed to bulk out the list a little bit because it is quite short. So another series that I'm up to date on is the Legacy of Orisha series by Tomi Adeyemi. So the first book, Children of Blood and Bone, came out last year in 2018. The second book, Children of Virtue and Vengeance and Virtue, can't remember, it comes out in March. I've got it on pre-order, so I'm really excited for that to come out. This was a really good debut, really strong debut, and really exciting introduction to this trilogy, so I'm really looking forward to continue on this. You don't need to hear me say too much about this because this has been all over BookTube. Was very hyped when it came out. I did actually film a review as well, so I'll link that in the description so you can go and check that out if you are interested, if you haven't heard about this book already. Received a lot of hype, a lot of praise. I think there has been some criticism recently and there's been a bit of Twitter drama regarding Tomi Adeyemi recently, which I'm going to steer clear of, but suffice to say I really enjoyed this book and I'm really excited for the sequel. The next series that I completed this year was a trilogy, which was the Gilead trilogy by Marilynne Robinson. So I read Gilead, the first book, a couple of years ago, and this year I picked up both Home and Lila, which are the sequels from my library. Well, I say sequels, they're kind of more companion novels. So Home, it runs parallel to Gilead. It's some of the same events, but told from a different perspective. And Lila is technically, I would say, a prequel, as the events of Lila precede the events of Gilead and Home. They are all really beautifully written. I would suggest reading them in publication order as well, read Gilead, then Home, then Lila, to get the full impact of the story, because they're very much character driven rather than plot driven, and it's about the different relationships between the characters, and so I think you get the impact more if you read them in that order. Marilynne Robinson's writing style is beautiful, it's very gentle, they're quite slow paced in places. In terms of plot, there's not a lot that happens, but she just casts a spell with her writing, really. I think that it's very easy to get absorbed into the novels, and they're just very comfortable, really. I mean, there's some dark stuff that happens in them, but they're just they feel very safe, very comforting reads, I would say. I rated all of those books. I think I gave Gilead 4 stars when I read it. I can't remember, it was a few years ago, but Lila and Home, I gave 5 stars to both, I'm fairly sure. And this was a great series. I'm really glad I picked it up again this year. I'm going to be trying to read some more of Marilynne Robinson's books in the future. The next series that I am currently up to date on, because I believe it's a continuing series, is the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. So I was given this book, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, for Christmas in 2017. I read it soon after, and then picked up the sequel, A Closed and Common Orbit, and the third book in the series, Record of a Spaceborne Few, was released middle of the year, I think July, can't remember. And so I read all 3 of them this year and completely loved them. Becky Chambers is now an author author for me. The series is beautiful, again very character driven rather than plot driven, so she writes just amazing characters, and the different species that she's created are very interesting, and I loved each and every one of these books. They're all followed different characters, but they're all linked, so they do follow one from the other, but not as direct sequels. So if you like sci-fi, these are really highly recommended. They are very excellent science fiction books that really do make you think about some of the issues faced in society. Really, really good series. The next series that I completed this year is a duology, which is the Strange the Dreamer duology. So the first book is Strange the Dreamer, the sequel is Muse of Nightmares. I discovered Laini Taylor as well this year, and again she's become an author for me because her writing style is just so beautiful. I was in a reading slump in November when I picked up Muse of Nightmares, and I was going through quite a rough time, and that book was just what I needed. I've now got the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I've read the first one, I've got that series to continue, and I know they are linked, but they're not sort of directly linked in the same way as others. Yeah, so these are fantasy. You probably have heard all about them because, again, they're very popular on BookTube, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. These were among my favourite books of the year, as I think they were for a lot of people. They, again, are quite slow paced in places. They cover some quite difficult topics, but the writing style is just gorgeous. I know I've said it before and I will say it again. I love Laini Taylor's writing, and the plot is just quite unexplainable. I don't know how to explain it. The twists and turns in the plot are just breathtaking. She doesn't shy away from difficult topics either, but she writes in such an engaging way. I think some people have criticised the writing has been quite flowery, but to me that worked. That was what I needed, that's what I loved. I highly recommend Laini Taylor, and this is a really good series. I have heard that you should really read the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy first. I didn't, because I picked up Strange the Dreamer for read-along and read Daughter of Smoke and Bone afterwards, but I will be rereading this duology once I've finished Daughter of Smoke and Bone to try and pick up on some more of the Easter eggs that are in there. So looking forward to rereading these regularly because they are just beautiful. Right, and then lastly, the last series that I completed this year was The 100 by Kass Morgan. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times already on this channel because I thought it was a trilogy, and then I found out this year that actually when I was preparing my series I read before 2018 video, I discovered that actually there was a 4th book in the 100 series. So I don't know if it's still an ongoing series, but there are currently 4 books and I have read all 4 of them now. These are dystopian science fiction, young adult books set in a future where Earth had become uninhabitable, so people moved to a spaceship colony that was orbiting the Earth, but the colony is starting to fail, so they have to risk coming back down to Earth, so they send 100 young people who are essentially juvenile delinquents that they've had locked up. Yeah, so they send them down to Earth to test out if it's habitable or not, and the young people get down here and find that there were people that somehow survived the cataclysmic event that was thought to have wiped out all life. So these have been made into a TV series. The books are very different from the TV series, apart from the original premise. I actually stopped watching the TV series when I started reading the books because I prefer the books. Just from the direction that the stories go, I think the books are better. But the TV series is good, it's just very different. So, and I didn't like that about it. Yeah, but if you like dystopian, science fiction, young adult style books, then I do recommend that series. Oh, I do actually have one more to talk about, which I couldn't decide what list to put it on, but it's going on this list for now. So there's one other series that I read this year, at least to a certain point. So that is the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. So this is going to be a trilogy. There are 2 main books out at the moment, The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear, which are the first 2 books in the trilogy, and I've read both of those. There are also a number of novellas and a companion novel that I haven't read yet, but because I've read the main books in the series, I'm including it on this list because I'm up to date with the main books in the series. We still have no idea when the 3rd book in that trilogy is meant to be coming out. I don't know if Patrick Rothfuss even knows if he's even finished writing it yet. It's been over 10 years now since The Name of the Wind was published. I only discovered them this year. I really enjoyed The Name of the Wind, did not enjoy The Wise Man's Fear quite as much, and so I haven't actually decided if I'm going to carry on with that series or not, which is why I haven't read the companion novels yet. I am intrigued by the main companion novel, but I haven't decided whether I'm going to read it or not yet, and I haven't decided if I'm going to finish off that series when the final book comes out yet. So that's it. That is it. So that was 8 series that I either got/stayed up to date with or completed in 2018, which is alright. It's not bad. I mean, considering some of those series I hadn't actually started before last year, that's pretty good going. That is quite a lot of books, but you'll see when I upload my series I need to finish list. Yeah, it's not that great. So, but I'm quite happy with that. I'm happy with having discovered some great new authors from the series. Although I didn't talk about in my goals video, having made this list now of the series that I'm part way through, it is definitely going to be a goal of 2019 to try and complete a few more of these series, or at least make progress with some of them. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you've read any of these series, what you think of them, if there are any series you're highly anticipating future releases for, and yeah, particularly if you've read the Kingkiller Chronicles that are out so far, what you think of them, whether you're still eagerly anticipating the 3rd book in the trilogy, which they have released a name for it but I can't remember what it is, or whether like me you're a little bit over it and not really sure if you're that bothered. Have a chat to me down in the comments about any of those things. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I upload on Tuesdays and Fridays. You can ring the notification bell so you get a little reminder every time I upload something. Thank you again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it today, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!